With the introduction of the new Siege Pro Circuit system, we've seen many new orgs and teams make it into their new top regional leagues, some of which are orgs and players making a comeback to pro play. Two of these teams are last season's European Challenger League champions and qualified for the EUL, and another two are the two new additions to the North American League. Today, I wanted to go over the new kids on the block and maybe provide an estimate on how they might stack up against the rest of their divisions: Disrupt Gaming, the Susquehanna Sonics, Team Secret, and TEMPRA Esports. So grab your tinfoil hats and prepare to write scathing messages in the comments if you're watching this 5 weeks from now, because I'm about to completely destroy your strafe pick'ems and your draft buff leagues. You can thank me later. I'm never dabbing on camera again. Let's begin with the boys in yellow. Disrupt is one of two teams that was added to the NAL back when Ubisoft intended on making it a 10-team league, but when Evil Geniuses and Luminosity decided to fold, they kept those spots as the league transitioned back to just 8. The team comprised of Nyx, Retro, Shuttle, Reed, and NJR have played no official public matches together at any point in time, so trying to guess how they'll do before they play an official game is extremely difficult. Disrupt actually approached Nyx and Retro about forming a new team after both of them were benched from Team Reciprocity right after the 6 Invitational. Shuttle was added after playing for the old North American Rogue team, and Reed was added after being a substitute for United and being on Disrupt's old Challenger League team from Season 10. Their 5th player spot was kind of up in the air for a little bit until they finally settled on NJR, a member of an infamous team of underage players who just turned 18 in time for DG to start their North American League run. Again, we don't have any matches to watch from these guys previously, unless you want to count the time they tried going incognito for an ESA qualifier.
I definitely would say that had no reflection of how good we could be as a team.
But what we do know these guys have is LAN experience. Between all members of Disrupt, they've got a combined 24 LAN events under their belt to date. It's a roster filled with really good talent that can be expected to keep their cool at larger events, and they're not exactly slouches when it comes to performance, but I'm being optimistic about how they'll do because the two best teams in the world, in my humble opinion, are also in the North American League. Without having seen them play and also knowing who is in their group in the NAL, I wouldn't expect DG to place any higher than 6th overall. And I'm being generous. They're the underdogs of this season for me, but they might have just gotten eclipsed by their other NAL newcomer. The Sonics are making their return to professional level competition after getting relegated during Season 10 of Pro League, and the team looks way different from what it did then to how it is now. Super, Slevin, and Gomfy are still all with the team. They added easily in the offseason after his stint with Rogue was over, and we had to wait forever for them to finally confirm that their 5th is iconic. He was also a part of Oblivion, which is the underage team that NJR used to play for, and believe it or not, he's not the only player from that squad that they now have on their team. This week, the Sonics have also acquired Lags and J90 as substitutes, but both of them are expected to play instead of Gomfy and Sleben for the foreseeable future. So remember when we thought their visa problems were all sorted out like months ago? Turns out they're still having trouble with US residency or COVID complications or something, but they're unable to play to start Stage 1, so Lags and J90 were brought into the fold. By the way, it's J90, not J90. Can we get this edited, please? Like Wikipedia? Like right now? I can't call the Sonics a bad team outright, but when you spend time prepping with 2/5 of a roster that can't even start the season with you, it's gonna be a big blow to team composition. I don't know if the caliber of player we're gonna see from them goes above a 6th or 7th overall finish. I was going to put them maybe as high as 4th if they could stick to their starting 5, but these circumstances today just suck all around. I hope they can prove me wrong, but from where I sit, that team is looking pretty bleak right now. Both Disrupt and SQ have their first matches of the new season tonight in just a couple of hours, but across the Atlantic, Secret and TEMPRA have already played their first games. Team Secret is not the same as it's been over the past year. The old British core have now broken up and gone their separate ways, and now the org plays host to the German orgless team that came in 2nd place in European Challenger League last season. KS, Driven, Prano, Hive, and Expo were rocking that orgless banner for months, ever since that team was signed to Na'Vi and dropped 3 months after getting picked up. Nobody remembers Navi's original lineup because they got fucking auto-relegated. They lost players like Rips and Cryan to more lucrative contracts from other teams, but settled on their current roster in February and then took Challenger League by the balls. So we have recent game footage to know that they're good, we've got player history to know that they're worth their salt, and now they have an org backing them, but they still have so much competition to deal with in Europe. In my opinion, they can place as high as 4th in this stage of the EUL. I believe they have enough proof of team chemistry and wherewithal for Siege that we can expect them to play well, but considering guys like G2, Rogue, Na'Vi, maybe even New Vitality are all sitting there with them, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself when I figure out where they're going to place. And last but not least, let's talk about TEMPRA Esports, who ran under the Is a Dream org when they ran through Challenger League a couple of months ago. I made the mistake of calling them all Pro League rookies on the last episode of the Hammered podcast, but they're actually not. Chaoxys played all the way back in Year 2, Season 3 with Alpha Republic of Esport, and Voy played with Mocket until the very end of Season 7. For everyone else though, it's their first time playing at this level, but they stormed through CL and had first place locked down like 3 weeks before the season was even over. It was a really impressive run, and the full team of Chaoxys, Voy, Shinka, Durza, and P4 has been a stack since January, but this is just a scenario where I feel like they fall into a lesser skill bracket compared to the rest of Europe. I don't want to call TEMPRA bad. Their CL run showed that they very clearly are not, but I'm putting them on par with Chaos in the EUL, and I don't think Chaos is going to be pulling out all the stops either. I'll give TEMPRA 6th place at the highest, because I think the talent on several other teams will eclipse what they're able to do, but I really do like it when newer teams, or ones that I have less experience with, can ultimately prove me wrong. At the end of the day, when we're adding new blood to the talent pool of the world's best teams, or bringing old players back for another run, it only makes things more interesting, especially if we have low expectations for them at the start. These guys could totally place where I said, or they could not. And if I'm being honest, I kind of hope they don't, because it means I'm still phenomenal at anti-predictions. And that is all from me. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Peace.